Hello everyone, and welcome to today's Proven Learning Series webinar. Today we'll be exploring the Submit to Prep paid feature that is available in Proven Jobs and the Proven CRM Franchise portal. Whether you're a franchise user submitting work to be estimated or a corporate administrator assigning work to a remote estimator, this feature creates a centralized workflow that keeps everyone connected throughout the estimating process. Today's agenda includes why use Submit to Prep, getting started from submission to completion, the complete workflow, sending your first prep request, staying connected during the estimate, how corporate and remote estimators complete the work, reviewing the finished estimate. With that overview in mind, let's begin by looking at why organizations choose to use Submit to Prep and the value it brings to the estimating process. Why use Submit to Prep? Estimating often involves multiple people working together across different locations. Without a structured process, it's easy for requests to become lost in email chains, for files to be misplaced, or for communication to become fragmented. Submit to Prep was designed to solve these challenges by creating a standardized workflow between franchise offices and centralized estimating teams. Instead of manually sending files and following up through email, users submit requests directly from Proven Jobs. The request is automatically delivered to the corporate team, assigned to a remote estimator, tracked through completion, and returned to the original requester for approval. Throughout the process, both teams can exchange notes, share files, monitor status updates, and receive automated notifications. The result is greater visibility, improved communication, and a more efficient estimating workflow. Getting started. Before anyone begins using Submit to Prep, there are several configuration settings that should already be in place. Within Proven Jobs, users must have permission to access the Prep feature. Hover Settings in the navigation bar, select Roles, select Edit on a role, expand Integrations, then expand Proven CRM. Once enabled through their security role, they'll be able to view the Prep Log tab inside each job. Companies can also control what information is shared with remote estimators. Specific note topics can be configured to appear in Prep, and individual job subfolders can be made available by enabling the Display in Prep option in Company Settings for both note topics and default subfolders. This gives organizations complete control over the information shared outside their office. On the corporate side in Proven CRM, administrators configure the default Prep team email address that receives all new submission notifications. You can do this by going to Franchise Settings and be sure you are on the franchisor's screen. Next, the user must select Prep. Finally, input the relevant Prep team email and select Update. On the same screen, you can also establish the default numbering and format used for Prep files, making each request easy to identify and track throughout the process. To do this, you must set the current number, which is the starting file number that will be incremented in the franchise settings path to Prep. To have the file number to be displayed in the format, add FN surrounded by braces as a keyword to signal for the system to look for that number. Anything outside of the braces can be added to the user's preference for the system. Finally, select Update when ready to submit formatting. With these settings complete, you're ready to begin using Submit to Prep. From submission to completion, the complete workflow. Before diving into each step individually, let's look at the overall workflow. Everything begins when a user working in Proven Jobs determines that estimating assistance is required. The user submits a prep request. Immediately, a new request is created in the prep log, an email notification is sent to the designated prep team, and the request becomes available inside the Proven CRM Franchise portal. A corporate administrator then reviews the incoming request and assigns it to a remote estimator. The remote estimator receives an email notification, opens the assigned request, completes the estimate, uploads supporting files, records billing information, and marks the work as complete. Finally, the original submitter receives notification that the estimate has been completed. They review the submitted work and either approve it or reject it for revisions. Once approved, The workflow is finalized, an invoice is generated, and the estimate is locked from further editing. Now that we've seen the overall process, let's look at each stage in more detail. Sending your first prep request. Inside a job in Proven Jobs, select the Prep Log tab. This tab serves as the central location for every prep request associated with the job. Selecting Submit to Prep creates a new request. During submission, you'll choose the type of work being requested. Available request types include estimate, catastrophe, sketch, review, or commercial. Next, enter the submission details that will help the remote estimator understand the work that needs to be completed. When you're ready, select Send. Submitting the request automatically creates a new prep log entry, generates a dedicated tab for that request, and sends an email notification to the designated prep team. One thing to remember is that multiple prep requests can exist within the same job. Every request receives its own record, allowing teams to maintain a complete history of estimating activities. Staying connected during the estimate. Communication continues long after the initial submission. If additional information becomes available, users can create prep notes directly within the prep log. These notes are automatically stored within the Jobs Notes section, allowing companies to search, filter, review, or print them later if needed. Attachments can also be shared with the remote estimator. Rather than exposing every document, users simply select the attachments they wish to share and enable Display in Prep. This changes the attachment's visibility from No to Yes while viewing attachments in List View. This allows the remote estimator to access only the information intended for them. Throughout the process, the prep log continuously updates the request status, allowing the original requester to monitor progress without needing to contact the estimator directly. How corporate and remote estimators complete the work. Once the prep team receives the notification, the prep administrator logs into Proven CRM.
Inside the prep area, I will locate the submitted request, select its number hyperlink, go to the Prep tab, and assign it to the appropriate remote estimator.
Once assigned, the remote estimator automatically receives an email notification informing them that work is ready to begin.
I will now open the request and select Start Review. Now that I have started the estimating process, I can upload estimate files. Create notes by selecting Add New Record. Then I will add a subject, topic, and note. I could also use Select Note Template for all previously mentioned to be entered automatically. Complete the billing section by entering the required hours and billing information. Both uploaded files and completed billing hours are required before the estimate can be marked completed. This helps ensure that every estimate contains the required documentation before it is returned to the requesting office. Once everything has been completed, I will select Complete, automatically notifying the original requester that the estimate is ready for review.
Reviewing the finished estimate. When the completed estimate is returned, the original submitter reviews the files, notes, and completed work. If everything meets expectations, they simply select Approve. The estimator will then be updated via email that it has been approved. Approval records the user, date, and time within the prep log. It also generates an invoice and locks the completed estimate inside the franchise portal to prevent further editing. If revisions are needed, the user selects Reject instead. A rejection note is required so the remote estimator understands exactly what changes are being requested. Once submitted, the request returns to an in-progress state, allowing the estimator to make corrections before submitting the estimate again. One final point to be aware of is that estimates waiting for approval for 10 days are automatically approved by the system. Course wrap-up. That concludes today's overview of the Submit to Prep feature. We followed the complete workflow from creating a prep request in Proven Jobs through assignment in the Proven CRM Franchise portal, then estimate completion as a remote estimator, and finalize approval back in Proven Jobs. By using Submit to Prep, organizations can standardize their estimating process, improve communication between franchise locations and corporate teams, and maintain complete visibility throughout every stage of the workflow. Thank you for joining today's Proven Learning Series webinar. If you have any questions about the Submit to Prep feature or would like additional assistance, please contact support using our email, support@canamsys.com, or phone number 1-866-992-2626. Thank you and have a great day.